What's going on, everyone? It is John here from Hot Take Hockey to give you a trade. The Toronto Maple Leafs have acquired a 2020 4th-round pick and David CLARKSON from the Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for goaltender Garrett Sparks. So if you are here, please subscribe to the channel, drop a like. Let's talk about this trade because I feel like there's more analysis here for the actual contracts than there are for the actual players. So it's going to be a quick video, but let's go all over it. And big shout out to Cap Friendly because that's where we're going to get our information from. So the first one, let's get with the Vegas Golden Knights and how this affects them. So the Golden Knights, they acquired Garrett Sparks and trade away David CLARKSON. So after trading David CLARKSON to Toronto and signing Derek Engelland to $700K, we now show the Vegas Golden Knights with $1 million in projected cap space and a roster of 22. So they're so close to that 23-man roster, and with $1 million in cap space, they would either have to make another move to sign Nikita Gusev, or they could sign a defenseman and have their 7th defenseman. So obviously they have their 14 forwards right now. They have the 2 extra forwards. If they want to sign Nikita Gusev, then they're going to have to trade out another contract, another forward, and that's where you would get your extra space. But right now they have a projected cap space of $1 million. So next up is the Toronto Maple Leafs side of things. There's still much that can happen now and October 1st, but by acquiring David CLARKSON's contract, that's for the Leafs, they can now build a roster with a total projected cap hit as high as $92,050,000 and then place both Horton and CLARKSON on LTIR, long-term injured reserve, to cover the $10.55 million difference. So essentially, the Leafs are actually gaining some ability here to sign Mitch Marner. They are, I would say in a sense, paying the last year of David CLARKSON, the $5.3 million, to, and that's just the cap hit, the amount would probably be less. They're paying that amount to get this ability to get more cap space, and they have done that in the past, not intentionally per se, but they had that in the past in Lupul's contracts on LTIR. So if you see in that quoted tweet, after acquiring David CLARKSON's contract, we now show the Leafs with a projected cap hit of $82,234,699. So that is $734. So they are $734,000 over the cap right now. It's an $81.5 million ceiling. So essentially, like I said, there's a $10.55 million difference in what they can get to. So they can get to a cap hit of over $92 million. So if you do the math with CLARKSON and Horton on LTIR, there is possibly enough money here to go to Mitch Marner, which is huge. And just to the final one, another option for the Leafs to build a roster right up until the $81.5 million ceiling, then place both CLARKSON and Horton on LTIR once the season starts, and giving the club $10.55 million in additional cap space. This scenario is only likely if Marner doesn't sign before the season begins. So this is obviously just huge for the Leafs. I think in general, you're going to look at Toronto as one of a few teams that will be going into training camp with a huge RFA not signed. So it's a little confusing, but essentially you were working with just over $9 million of cap space. And I don't want to call it cap space because it's more called cap room when you're putting 2 guys like this, or a guy that would have been before this trade, Horton, on LTIR. It would have just been cap room. Without putting Horton on LTIR, the Leafs essentially just have over $3 million in cap space. That was before this trade. And now with this trade, they're actually 734, I think it is, 100,000 over the cap. So they're over the cap, but with those 2 guys on LTIR, they have that $10.55 million difference. And we've talked about Mitch Marner. He does want, and this is speculation, but some reports from trusted insiders, that he does want that over 11 million mark, over that John Tavares amount. But 10.55 million, we're getting a lot closer. And if it's a shorter term deal, you would have to assume that Mitch Marner would look at that and be like, this is the option right now. Kyle Dubas has made an effort. He has put in the work to create the cap space for Mitch Marner. And now I'm looking at this deal and assuming that they're going to come to terms around that amount, the 10.55 million. So I think this is 2 teams helping each other out. Vegas wanted to get rid of that last year of the David CLARKSON contract. Pretty funny because that's the exact contract the Leafs signed David CLARKSON to 6 years ago. So funny in that sense, and they do trade away. They move on from Garrett Sparks, and out of it all, they get a 4th round pick in 2020. So both teams helping each other out. Vegas gets that cap space. They don't have to spend that money, and the Leafs well, they're a rich franchise. They can spend the money. They can throw the money away to make the team better. And that's essentially what this does. This makes the Leafs better off for signing Mitch Marner. So thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you think about this trade. If we're just quickly talking about the players, David Clarkson, career-ending injury. He's not going to play again. And for Garrett Sparks, he's a backup goalie at most. I would assume he's going to start in the minors for the Golden Knights with Malcolm Subban backing up Marc-Andre Fleury. So subscribe if you haven't yet. Please drop a like. Every like counts. Like I said, comment your thoughts. This was John from Hot Take Hockey. Have a good one. Peace out.